My name is Sadia Moore. I serve in the United States Air Force, Communications and Personnel.
My name is Matthew Odom. I was in the United States Air Force. My specialty was intelligence with a specialty in signals analysis.
My name is Jason Christian. I served as an engineman in the U.S. Navy.
So Tim Walshon, I'm the Chief Engineer for Electrical, Electronics, and Vehicle Connectivity. Served in the Navy, U.S. Navy, so I did 2 years of school in nuclear and electrical engineering and then 4 years on a submarine out of Pearl Harbor.
My name is Ashley Britt. I served in the United States Marine Corps from September of '82 to October of 2013. 22 years active.
I'm Rod Stanford. I was a U.S. Navy corpsman. I served with the Marines. I chose the Navy because every Stanford male previous to me back to the first wars were Navy, and it was something that I was going to do from the time I was a child. My grandpa was World War II, my dad was Korea, my uncle was Vietnam, and I was Desert Storm.
My name is Peter Friend. I started in the Army on active duty for 10 years and then in the reserves for the past 3 years. Served as an armor officer and then later as an acquisitions officer, systems development.
I'm Carl Comte. I was in the U.S. Air Force as an aircraft and munitions maintenance, and I was active duty from 1984 to 1997, and then I was called back a couple times. I last left the military in 2013.
My name is Radamus Torres. I was in the United States Army. Served from 2001 to 2006 at Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
So my name is Nidra Anderson and I am HRBP for GTP. So I have a total of 15 years of service in the United States Army.
My name is Francisco Quiñones. I am ex-military from the Army and served from the year 2000 to the year 2012 in active duty.
My name is Tim Martin. I am an 8-year Navy veteran. During my time in the Navy, I was what we call an aviation structural mechanic. My responsibilities were the overall aircraft itself, excluding ordnance, electronics, or the engine itself. So anything that had to do with the structural components of the aircraft was what I was responsible for.
Robert Ellis, military branch was U.S. Air Force. Served from 1992 through 2000. I actually worked in logistics just as I do today. So actually moving different products, things for airplanes and people to get them where they needed to be.
My name is Roy Walton. I'm a former United States Marine. I was in the Marine Corps from 1995 to 1999. So I was a motor transport operator. I drove LVSs. My MOS was 3533.
My name is Harry Yeaman. I'm still currently in the Army Reserve. I've been in since November 2014. I commissioned in June 2015 as a second lieutenant, and currently I'm a first lieutenant out of Bedford, Virginia, serving in the transportation branch.
I think my military service has pretty much made me as a person because I joined so young. I went in at 18. I feel like at that age I kind of was very moldable, and the Air Force kind of guided me towards who I am today.
Oh, tremendous, especially in the Marine Corps. The discipline is a big thing. It's not also a matter of things that you do, but also you learn a lot of things that you won't do. And that's very critical when you're in stressful situations. You learn how to depend on teammates. You learn how to work within a team. You learn how to lead teams. So it was critical thinking, on-the-spot thinking. Been in 4 combat zones, so you have to think on your feet in a matter of split seconds. And all those things help develop a character, a personality, a work ethic to succeed here at Volvo.
Yeah, everybody would, when they think of a GI, they think of somebody carrying a gun, or they think of somebody swabbing a deck or doing things like that, but there's much more to that. That's only part of the equation. There's the training experience on learning how to work with people, and these are people from different backgrounds. I had people from all over the world that I was serving alongside with, and I had to learn how to deal with that. I also had to learn how to develop people. I had to learn how to lead a work center. I had to learn how to communicate with upper management about different things that were going on the ship. In my case, upper management was the command, but you know, I spoke to people, and I spoke to people all the way up the chain of command. If there was a problem, I talked to them about it, and I told them what the solution was.
In the military, you learn how to follow order and how to take direction and how to get things done. You also learn that you can accomplish way more than you think you can. And if you take those same skill sets into work, you're going to be successful. I think you have a maturity from being in the military that a lot of people of your own age that haven't done that don't have. And I have seen people in my department that have been in the military tend to be a little bit more successful than those that haven't over the long run. So I think it's a good place to go.
I think veterans bring a sense of focus in a midst of chaos or amidst of stressors. I think veterans seem to have a sense of clarity, of purpose and direction, of knowing decisively what to do. I think veterans are also very disciplined and timely in their overall execution of their work. There's a sense of pride about work as well with military veterans.
Well, as we all know, if you've participated in anything military, you get a lot of discipline, you get a lot of organization, you learn to focus, and I believe that's really helped, as well as being interested in many things and being able to multitask, I'll say, even though they say it's impossible. But being able to do that and deliver things in your professional life as a result of what you did in the military, I believe was very helpful.
I think one of the things that the military teaches you is a lot of discipline, and that's one of the things that translate into the civilian life. If you have discipline, you pretty much do anything. You're staying on task, and you want to be a person that anybody could depend on for any type of objective, goal, whatever the case might be.
Not everybody has the same training and life experiences as you do. So just understanding that, having an understanding of that is very important.
What they bring, you know, I think what veterans bring, you know, in general is I can give you something to do and you're going to figure out how to do it. That's self-starting once you've given, you know, some direction. And that and the ability to learn, you know, new and different things, you know, quickly. For the, you know, most part, people that have come out of the military, you know, have an understanding of the big picture, and you can keep them focused on it. But the other part about it is the ability to make a decision and execute things. You can give them a task. You may not be able to tell them how to do it, but they will, you know, dig in and try and figure it out, and, you know, drive themselves to, you know, that solution.
One thing that I think the military brings to the workforce is discipline. That's something that I can honestly say I don't see consistently in civilian sector as much as I did in the military, because we're groomed to obey the rules. And a lot of times in civilian sector, we want to find ways around the rules.
Veterans bring the drive, skills, and experience necessary to get the job done. And hiring a veteran, you know that you're going to get somebody that's committed to doing the work that you ask them to do. Veterans are also people that look for new opportunities. We grew up in an environment that you had to train to learn about the job of the person above you as well as train the person below you. So we're always forward-looking, looking for opportunities, looking to grow our minds. And in my case, I translated that into getting my master's degree. I moved up and took advantage of my GI Bill, took advantage of tuition reimbursement here at Volvo, and I was able to meet that goal. And now I'm in a position that utilizes that knowledge and experience. I still think there's room to grow, to be aware of what vets bring to the table, and sometimes understand that the skills they have don't necessarily match up with a diploma or something like that. They've got the experience, they can get the job done.
The big thing you learn from the Army, interpersonal skills. Some people think that's kind of odd because they think Army is very direct leadership. But in the Army, especially as an officer, you're dealing with multiple cultures, multiple backgrounds, international, foreign militaries. And here, as Volvo, it's a very global, diverse company. So having that international experience that you gain from the military really gives you an advantage here at Volvo.
My military skills have served me numerous ways, just from being punctual to meetings, to how I interact with everyone else around me. The diversity that I dealt with in the military, I'm dealing with it here every day. The skills that I learned on IT systems and whatnot, I'm using it here today in Volvo as well.
Advice that I could give to someone that's transitioning from the military is to make sure that you get out there and network. Talk to a lot of different people to get you in the right direction.
At first it was a drastic change because you come from an environment that it is pretty much structured, very disciplined. You have ranks to follow, chains of command to follow as well. It's not that Volvo doesn't have it, but it's pretty much, if you want to put it this way, squared. And then you have to pretty much adapt yourself to what it is, corporate America, take off the uniform, wear the civilians, and adapt to the change. So it was drastic, but then I got used to it, thanks to you know, the people here at Volvo and the company policies and all that.
It's the skills that I learned in leadership positions and leadership schools and academies in the military helped with leading groups here at Volvo. The transition was tough. It's quite different from the military perspective to corporate America, because it is a vastly different environment than in the military.
You know, we call it first civ div, civilian life. You know, not everybody is going to respond the same way in first civ div. So really just take your training for what it is. Use it to the best of your ability, but don't let it, don't let it affect, I guess, how you see other people and the way that they perform their duties. Right.
I would say to anybody new coming out of the military, you've been trained well, you understand discipline. A lot of your civilian counterparts haven't had that. So if you just go in and keep working hard and trying hard, and your past training is going to get you through it.
Really kind of minimize the leap, right? I think it's still people that come together and do great work, right? And that same mindset, probably more deeply ingrained in military through the close relationships. Not to expect that that's a big jump. You can get the same thing in the workforce today. So don't sell yourself short. Yeah. So I think in serving the military, there's very much a team mindset, very much a joint mission. So you get to know and you need the support of the people right next to you in every role, and that's very much the same at Volvo. For us to be successful in our deliveries, in our developments, we have to have that same mindset. You don't do anything individually, it has to be a team and a shared mission there.
One thing I would say right away, in the military you make a best friend in a day. In the civilian world, you have to remember people have had their establishments and their cliques and their friendships for a while. So it will take you longer to make those friendships. That's probably one thing that is a little different. But if you keep working with people and trying, and you'll eventually make those friends. So that's the hard thing about the transition. But the military also prepared you to tackle about any obstacle unknown that can come up. And that's one of the things in the civilian life, that you will also have the same things. There'll be things people haven't dealt with before, and you'll be the first one charging down that path.
Understanding that the structure that the military provides is very stringent, which doesn't always work in civilian sector. So I've had to figure out how to transition from structure to what I would call organized chaos, to what I would call disorganized chaos, and now enveloped it into a totally new world in civilian corporate sector. So all of the experiences that I've gotten through all of the employment opportunities that I've had have developed me for this global opportunity here at Volvo.
I would say the transition process, back then it was called Transition Assistance Program. I know there's other names for that today, but take full advantage of that. Not only does it reorient you to civilian society, but it also tells you about companies that are interested in hiring prior military service individuals. And then you want to look for opportunities to work for those companies. So you want to look for companies that encourage and participate in those programs. Especially if you remain in National Guard or something, you want to be able to maintain your service as well as your professional career.
For veterans, the biggest thing really is coming into an environment that's familiar to them. Volvo Group's been around a long time. They do have a lot of stable processes in there, and there's a lot of attention to detail that's needed at times to get the job done. And that's, you know, it's a good culture, good environment for a military man to come into.
In the Army, you always get a job, an assignment, and you know it's going to last for 2 years. So even if it's bad, you just endure it. But coming to the civilian world, it was quite odd. In the first company that I worked for, I didn't quite like it, and I realized about 6 months into the job, I was like, wait, I have a choice in my career now. So it was definitely a bit of a transition, coming somewhere where I have a choice in where I want to live and what I want to do.
Biggest thing I would tell them is keep your head up. You're going to hear a lot of no's, you're going to have a lot of uncertainty, but somewhere out there is going to be a yes, and you're going to be able to show them why you're such a valuable aspect to them.
You might have a lot of no's along the way, but stay motivated, stay the course, and things will work out.
I didn't really have my degree coming out of the military, but that was okay. I had the benefits, and then I paired that up with the benefits that the Volvo Group provided, and ultimately I ended up with my master's degree.
It offers you an opportunity to take advantage of skills you learned while in the military. Also the leadership programs and training that you developed while in the military, you can put in action here. They also assisted a lot with the education. Along with the VA, Volvo helped me complete a second undergrad degree and a master's degree while here.
Education is key, and you want to open up the doors to different horizons. Don't necessarily think that just because you were an infantryman, a military policeman, a mechanic, that you need to stay in that field. You have the education, it would open up your doors to doing so many other things.
One of the things that Volvo does well is they have a good work-life balance, very good medical benefits. They help train you if you want to get trained. They'll send you to college if you want to continue going to college. So lots of good benefits for all employees, including veterans.
I think Volvo Group offers veterans a chance to share their perspective. Since it's such a diverse company, that Volvo values that voice from the veteran experience and the aspects that they were working on in the military that can then transition here to Volvo Group.
One of the things that I loved about the military was that team environment. And that's definitely what we have here in Volvo, is everybody pulling in the same direction, working towards a common goal. And not only that, but the diversity that we have here is just the same as we had in the military. Diversity is key, and I think those two things are just great.
Well, the military is very structured, and Volvo, being a large company, is also bureaucratic and structured. So I think the military, coming into a large company like Volvo, it helps you transition because there is structure and there is procedure and there is process and how to get things done.
The training in the military has helped because a lot of technical training, and we are a very technical company. The other part about it is the veterans within the Volvo Group that I've worked with have always been supportive of each other. So from that aspect, it's been good to me. I've stayed for 20 years because I've never been bored in what I've done, and I've always been challenged.
Volvo offers to veterans flexibility. For those who are in the reserves, such as myself, you do have the chance to learn, you do have the chance to make your drills, go serve, and learn things on the civilian side that you can put in practice in the military as well.
I spent 8 years, 6 years of that on active duty, 2 years on guard duty. The company fully supported me in my Air National Guard efforts. It was no issue to be away and participate in unit training exercises and things like that. It worked very well. And I believe I've had some individuals work for me in the similar program, so they've been treated the exact same way. So I believe the company is very open and willing to work with you in those circumstances.
Mostly an opportunity to showcase the talent and skills that you've learned while on active duty. The leadership opportunities, the technical skills. I think that's the biggest aspect of what Volvo offers veterans here.
I think there's a couple things. Of course, a team mindset, being able to work with a group for a common goal and to meet that goal. I mean, it's basically the same. I mean, it's a joint mission. So it's, I think one thing I've learned a lot from the Navy that translates is working with all different kinds of people, different types of people with different backgrounds and different experience. And because Volvo is so diverse, you have that opportunity as well. So in the Navy, there was, of course, people from all over the country and even some other countries. Same thing here at Volvo. So it's a lot around that.
I think that Volvo offers to veterans the chance and the opportunity to be in a more relaxed environment, not so much square and structure one. You know, there's a lot of resources out there, your counterparts, your co-workers, that can actually assist you with that.
Now, one of the things that might be challenging to a vet is vets are used to having responsibility. When you come into the civilian market, you're asked to do one or two things off that list of everything that you did when you were in the military. So there's a little bit of change, transition involved in it, but over time it works out and you end up in a situation where you're well trusted and well respected by all the stakeholders that you work with, and it just takes time.
People coming out of the military are an excellent fit for Volvo. You know, I think that they've got that dedication, I think that they've got that drive, that commitment that Volvo needs to be able to build the best truck.